Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Left, Wrong, and Center.
I'm the center.
And I'm the center left. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
We didn't do an episode last week, I think because I was so busy going
through life,
semi-viral on TikTok for Left, Wrong, and Center. It was an interesting week on the internet. Lots of trolling.
And me both.
Should we talk about it?
You can.
The TikTok that I put out, 10 seconds long, triggered so many people. There is some dude who made sure to let us know. His video started with we're not doing Gavin Newsom in 2028. We're not. And I stitched it and I was like, yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And that was the video. That's all I said. It has 80 something thousand views right now. And 1,500 comments, and people are livid. And it just goes to illustrate part of the reason why I started this podcast is people cannot read between the lines of that TikTok. People have no literacy. I think the reaction is sort of funny because 90% of the comments are yes, we are. It's actually I'm kind of pleasantly surprised that so many people are yep, we understand the assignment. And then you get those people who are no, we're not. We have 3 years. We can find someone better. And then everyone coming in with their pet issue of
for anyone who's listening, Kyle, what do you mean by your viral video? What was the point of your video?
To troll.
Well, and also that if he's the nominee, of course we're going to be backing him.
Yes, yeah. And that's I posted a quick follow-up, which got many less views, but I posted a quick follow-up to that because I'm how is it that people on TikTok can go so far down any conspiracy theory rabbit hole on something that makes absolutely no sense, and they can't read between the lines of that TikTok where it's yeah, we are doing Newsom in 2028 if he's the nominee, just we'll do Harris in 2028 if she's the nominee, or we will do Ocasio-Cortez in 2028 if she's the nominee.
Right.
And then you've got the people, of course, who have to come in and be bold of you to assume we're going to have an election in 2028. And I'm shut up. I get it, but also shut up. Come on. That's kind of how that's what the week has been. I think I've been a little bit surprised by the internet landscape responding to some of these videos.
Are you surprised?
No, but in a positive way.
Oh, got it.
There have been, I expected a lot more backlash on the Newsom video. And what I thought was funny, and I posted and you'll have something to say about this, I'm sure, but I posted a response to a comment as a video because all these progressives who I think are commenting mostly in good faith, actually, they're well, I like Andy Bashir. Don't sleep on Andy Bashir. And I'm
yeah,
I do too. But I'm also what are you going to do when Andy Bashir is
just a normie
you
Democrat?
You have Newsom and Bashir on the same debate stage, and they agree on 99% of issues.
Yeah, I think it's really weird. So I liked your video, and then I unliked it, and then I think you removed it.
I took it down because it was this is 3 minutes long, and nobody's gonna watch it.
Well, I liked it the first half. I was okay, I'm with you, and then the second half, I was ooh, I'm not. So I unliked it. But
tell me why.
I don't recall exactly what you said. I think it's that you said something where it's a generic white man or something. Where
no, I didn't. All I said was that he's
just a normal guy.
Standard normie dem. I didn't mention him being white or a man.
That's So the thing with me is I love that a lot of people, especially with our governors, they just and which is actually a good thing, but they project their positions and opinions on those governors because the governors are not taking stands on the hot button issues because the governors actually have to govern states, right?
Right.
So
Andy Bashir specifically is obviously in a very deep red state with a very deep red legislature.
Super majorities in both chambers.
He's very quiet.
Right.
And people have been begging Democrats to do something for the last 8 months. And Newsom's doing something, both speaking out and doing something with his maps, using his power.
Right.
Bashir is not that he has the power.
Can't.
He
right.
can't. But it's really interesting how now the goalposts have
moved again
to, oh, don't do something like that. I don't like that one.
Right.
I like this one, who I can project my fantasies onto.
Right.
Because people will have plenty of reasons if Andy Bashir is the nominee in 2028 that they will decide they will not support him.
Or not, where it's kind of with Walz, his record is, not necessarily the the most liberal wet dream that you could have, and they kind of ignored that. It's very weird that they...
Walz was the example I was going to give in
Yeah,
that Bashir video.
And that's the thing. Like, Andy Bashir, he's a Kentucky Democrat, so there's things in his record where he is not necessarily the most, progressive. I really adore Andy Bashir, don't get me wrong.
We know.
But yeah, it's very interesting where people's records matter to some people, but not other people.
Right.
So we'll see how everything kind of shakes out.
Well, recently it seems like people's records matter when they begin to gain prominence. And we've talked about this so many times that I'm sure anybody listening to this is going to roll their eyes and be like, oh my God, here they go again. There's a certain faction of people online, people who align with the left, people who align, it's not necessarily just the left, but it's predominantly where it's like, the minute that somebody looks like they could be a credible, viable candidate, we tear them down. And we didn't want that one. We don't want that fighter. And it's really funny that people are like, oh, we have 3 years. Like, we have time. That's true. Like, we have time. But it's also like, what have you been doing for the last 8 months? Because I remember when I first started this podcast and it was just me doing everything.
Right.
Like, I put up a video on social media that was like, okay, for the people who are like, in their never Kamala phases and like they're, I refuse to vote for XYZ, like now's your time to organize. Right. I have not seen any organization from people who don't want it to be Newsom. All I see is I won't do that. And then you ask what the issues are that are driving people. And I said this in a follow-up too. And it's trans kids in sports and the homeless and whatever, which are like viable things. Those are valid things to care about. But at the same time, if fascism truly is the enemy here, if fascism is truly coming to America in the form of Donald Trump, it is. I don't really care what your pet issue is. I don't care about any of it because the issue is fascism. So It just shows a lack of awareness of like the state that we're in. And I think it's like delicious in a way, but it's also like kind of pitiful.
Yeah, and I think that you're going to see that across the board and I think we can actually just transition to our next topic where we're talking about kind of the Senate map and some of the congressional map in 2026, where we have a lot of candidates announcing relatively early, I would say, not crazy early, but relatively early for these offices. And, you can already see the pillars lining up to, pick their champion who is most likely going to lose that nomination across the spectrum. So, I know you had some things you wanted to say first. I can give you the Pennsylvania report, though.
Go through the Pennsylvania congressional, because there are 4 seats that I know we're targeting, like really targeting.
Yes.
Susan Wild lost her re-election bid last year.
Yes.
And what is the man's name that you sent me?
Matt Cartwright lost as well in 2024. So
no, I mean the guy you sent me last night that you like.
Oh yeah, and let me break this down. So PA7, it's a big primary on the Democratic side. County executive of Northampton's also running, as well as some other people.
Okay.
And then Bob Brooks, who's a fireman from the Firemen's Union, who's endorsed by Josh Shapiro and Bernie Sanders, entered the race this week for Pennsylvania 7. That's the Lehigh Valley area.
Which shouldn't that right there kind of indicate some unity?
Yeah, absolutely. And so
people will still find things to complain about.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's, kind of no nonsense. He's truly a union man. He's worked with his hands his whole life. Firemen have a really tough job.
Yeah.
So good for him for running. And then PA 8, which is more of a conservative leaning district that Matt Cartwright represented for about a dozen years. It's currently represented by Matt Barshon, who is Rob Bashan. He is about 35 years old. He's a Nepo baby trust fund, and he is under fire a lot for his insider trading and taking a private helicopter from the district to Congress every time he has to go. Scranton Mayor Paige Congetti is going to be running for that, hopefully. Okay. She is a really strong candidate as well. I've met her briefly in 2022. She is a really strong contender. She has actually a really cool background where the incumbent Democratic mayor of Scranton in 2019, basically was under fire, under federal investigation. She ran in as an independent, won, and then switched back to Democrat and won a full term in 2021.
Okay.
So she has kind of that independent Democrat look about her. I think she's down the line a Democrat on every issue.
Okay.
And then Pennsylvania 10, Janelle Stelzen.
Who just barely lost
by
last year.
less than a point to Scott Perry.
Who's vile.
He's not a good representative. She has announced that she's running for Pennsylvania 10, and that's the Harrisburg-based district. Mm-hmm. And I should say PA 8, where the mayor of Scranton is running, is the Scranton-based district.
Yeah.
So it's all on the eastern side of the state. Western Pennsylvania, the districts are pretty set. Of course, we have the Pennsylvania-based or the Pittsburgh-based district that Summer Lee represents, which is PA 12, and then we have that's a solid Democratic district, even though she underperforms other Democrats in the district.
I did see a cool ad from her though. Did you see the if you want to talk about messaging, it was talking about the cost that it takes to deport somebody or to hold somebody up in a detention facility.
She's great for what she does. She's a member of the squad. She has they all have good communications. And then I just wanted to finish this here where Chris DeLuzio's seat is ranked to, which he's in Western PA, half of Pittsburgh and Beaver County. That is ranked as likely Democrat. So it's not necessarily a competitive seat. Some would say that Connor Lamb walked so Chris could run. No, I'm just kidding. But it's
that's not inaccurate. Though.
Yeah, so it's almost a solid Democratic seat at this point. And then the rest of Western Pennsylvania is solid Republican. But we're going to have some really interesting races coming up next year. Pennsylvania, all eyes are going to be on Pennsylvania, Maine, Iowa, North Carolina, and Georgia.
We've got to hold Georgia. We've got to hold Michigan.
But the pickup opportunities I would love to go over real quick with you is that we have the Maine Senate. We'll go into more detail after this. North Carolina.
Well, hold on.
Go ahead.
Should we go in like what we think the likeliest order is? Because so at this stage, nothing's a given.
Oh, sure,
I think John Ossoff is in a fairly decent position. I
would say the most likeliest Democrats currently that are going to win. So let's do the pickup opportunities, and then we'll go where we're defending seats. Let's do that first.
Well, we have to defend Georgia and we have to defend Michigan. That's
correct.
That's it.
That's it. So I think both of those are likely Democratic at this point. John Ossoff's going to be in a very expensive reelect, though. He's going to be
an expensive reelect, but the Republicans are kind of scrambled for a candidate, and no clear candidate has emerged. And then if you flip that on its head, that's kind of what's happening to us in Michigan.
Yeah, in Michigan, so they're trying to succeed.
It's going to be Haley Stevens, but
it could be Haley Stevens, or it could be Mallory McMorrow, or it could be this guy from Dearborn. There's a lot of candidates running, a lot of grifting going on, if you ask me, in Michigan. Haley Stevens obviously is the strongest candidate in that field. She's leading every poll.
Yeah.
But as long as she
in the Democratic field and against Mike Rogers,
correct,
who seems to be the Republican
nominee.
Kind of
he moved back from Florida to Michigan full time now to run for this seat. Grifter as well. So we will see. I think if it's Mallory McMorrow or Haley Stevens in Michigan, I think we're going to see a competitive race, but I think the Democrats can end up on top.
Yeah.
Georgia, I think John Ossoff's favored at this moment, but it could always be competitive.
Yeah,
we don't know what the race conditions are going to be like next October. Next October. Yeah. Now, in the pickup category, there's most likeliest I think we'll pick up is North Carolina.
Agreed.
Because of
Roy Cooper.
And then I think from that point, I think it would be Maine, where there's a whole laundry list of Democrats running to take out Susan Collins. We'll go into more depth into those here in a minute. And then we also have, and then I would guess Iowa, wouldn't you say? And then Alaska. And then Iowa isn't bullish, and then Kansas, even though we don't even have a good candidate running for
I don't think Kansas is happening, and I think there's a world in which, and everyone's going to roll their eyes, in which Texas could be competitive if it wasn't
depends.
Colin Allred.
Yeah.
And I look at this James Tallarico guy, and I'm like, I wish you would run for Senate.
I think he's planning on it.
You think so? Because Texas is one of the. It feels like fool's gold at times, but it's also like we have seen quite a bit of movement towards the Democrats in the last 20 years. If you look at the margins by which Republican presidential candidates used to win Texas, they were astronomical, and it's narrowed quite a bit. We saw some backsliding last year. We
saw backsliding everywhere.
What I need people to understand, though, is that that's normal, because in 2024 mirrored 2020 for Republicans. We saw like Republicans
Right.
saw tons of backsliding in
all
various
all types of places.
Yeah, Joe Biden only lost Texas by like 5.5 points,
correct.
and like nobody ever was like, "Oh my God, it's over for Republicans in Texas," or it's
Right.
like so. We only freak out when it's a Democrat backsliding.
Well, and the next year, Greg Abbott won by 10, and I think,
I think Beto was a weak gubernatorial candidate, to be honest.
I mean, yeah.
He was a very strong Senate candidate in 2018.
Yes.
Almost flipped it. I think that I think Texas will be competitive.
Well, I will say this: Beto overperformed all the rest of the Democrats running statewide in 2022.
Sure,
so, yes, it was not necessarily a strong turnout for the Democrats, right? In 2022,
in
either.
Texas,
right? In Texas, right?
Yeah.
And then we have Maine, Iowa. I always forget about Texas, and Alaska. Those are the ones that are on the playing field. Those are the ones who are on the court. Kyle, tell us which one you think which ones are the most likely to flip after North Carolina.
Okay, well, I want to be clear to our listeners and viewers because a lot of people, again, think that you can snap your fingers and if Democrats lose, then it's their own fault because X, Y, Z. The map does not look great for Democrats in 2026 to take back the Senate. I think the House is very, very much, a strong possibility. There's all this gerrymandering happening, but I think it looks decent for us next year, the House of Representatives.
And a couple of these places, Kyle, real quick, I just want to add that Utah is actually being forced to redraw their map. So we'll pick up a solid Dem seat in Salt Lake City. Mm-hmm. We should, unless they do some shenanigans. And then the one silver lining with the Texas gerrymander is that the Latino districts that they're breaking apart.
I did see a video breakdown on this where
it's not necessarily
a done deal.
A done deal because that was the first. It's based off of Trump's map. If you use the best performance of a Democrat in Texas in recent memory, which is Beto's 2018 run. Those Latino districts that were broken up, he won all of them. So there's a chance that a Democrat can still win in those districts.
Yeah. So the Senate map does not look great for us in 2026. It's similar to 2018 where it's like we had a really, really good year. Like the turnout was like D plus 8 or 9. Like that was like the overall, but then we lost 2 Senate seats. Like just because of the map and the math.
Because we picked up 2. So we lost 4 technically, but we picked up 2. So
we lost Missouri, we lost North Dakota,
Florida, Indiana. Florida. Is that 5?
Yes. Joe Donnelly, Heidi Heitkamp, Claire McCaskill, and Bill Nelson.
Yeah.
And then we gained
Arizona
with Kirsten Sinema.
And back when she was a Dem.
What else happened?
Nevada.
Okay.
Jackie Rosen.
Okay, Jackie Rosen. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So the math does not favor us. So I think we're in good shape. I'm saying this like with an asterisk. I think Georgia we will hold. I think we will hold Michigan if all goes halfway well.
Yep.
I think I agree with you that North Carolina is the next likeliest flip. I think Roy Cooper's a strong candidate. Polling so far shows him
dominating
up like 6-7 points.
Right.
And
he only needs to win 50+1.
Correct. And they have him in the high 40s as well, which is important. I mean, you want to see that candidate around 50. But given where Democrats are nationally right now and how the brand is, like, I'm not surprised to see that this far out.
I agree.
We didn't talk about Ohio, which is kind of a dead zone for Democrats in general. Sherrod Brown is running for that seat. If we are going to win in Ohio, it's going to be with Sherrod Brown.
Yeah, they're about to gerrymander Ohio's districts too. They're going to probably take away 2 Democratic districts, Marcy Kaptur's and Amelia Sykes districts.
Sure.
And they're just going to keep the districts that are based in Cleveland, Columbus, and they might try to take out Greg Landsman as well in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Cheat if you can't win.
Yeah, cheat if you can't win. So
I would say that our next likeliest flip would be Maine. The state goes blue for presidential race.
Right.
I don't remember the last time it went red. Was it
1988?
I was going to say it was 88. Susan Collins always kind of squeaks by. She's concerned and alarmed, and
she used to actually be a bipartisan senator.
Yes, but I mean, like
anymore.
Last night, for instance, I was scrolling through Twitter, and I will always dead name Twitter. And CNN was interviewing Graham. Is it pronounced Plattner?
Plattner.
They were interviewing him, and they made sure to go out of their way to talk about how Susan Collins is a bipartisan swing vote, and then listed, like, had a full graphic ready to go with her picture and all the ways in which she had stood up to Trump. So I'd say it's our next likeliest flip. We have a little bit of a disagreement on Plattner. What is the other guy's name? Jordan Wood.
Oh yeah, he's another grifter.
So it's like our field. Here's where I'm coming from on Maine. Is I don't know much about Jordan Wood.
He's Katie Porter's chief of staff.
All right, that tells me what I need to know.
Yeah. Former chief
Graham
of staff.
Plattner, I don't know too much about him. What I know about him is that he is liked by progressives. He has Bernie Sanders support. Bernie Sanders won Maine in 2016 in the
Democratic primary
against Hillary Clinton.
Right.
And Maine seems a little bit odd. They're splitting their ticket often. There's very, very blue educated parts of the state, and then there's very red rural parts of the state.
Yeah.
There's no reason that in an anti-Trump wave, which Collins has not had because 2018 she was not
right
for re-election, that we shouldn't be able to pick up that seat. Her approval is underwater.
Yes.
I just saw a video of her a couple days ago at a ribbon cutting being booed, screamed at, and like the audience was very clearly very angry with her, and were making it known. They were she was kind of telling people, "Okay, guys, you need to listen to me," and they were going, "No, you need to listen to us. You never listen to us." Somebody screamed like, "Vote for Graham Plattner!" Like, this is it's a non-traditional kind of candidate. He's what is he farm? Oyster farmer.
Yeah.
Grant's rolling his eyes, guys. I'm open-minded to this guy.
Oh, I am too. I have nothing against him.
That's not true, though, and I think you should.
No, I can
say
explain why I have some reservations. No, he's fine.
I have reservations too, but
Right.
what I'm open about is the fact that he, like in that same interview that I was talking about with CNN, he was asked, like, would you vote for Chuck Schumer to be majority leader? And he was like, no.
Yeah. Well, and that's the
I
same
like
thing.
that he answered the question just directly and was like, I will not do this.
Most of the Democratic candidates running are saying no.
Yes, and they should.
Yeah.
But there's another clip that I've seen of him from his own social media where he's talking at a club, it looked like a country club, and he's talking to people about, like, everyone keeps asking me how I'm going to talk to Trump supporters. He's like, I do it every day. He was like, we all agree that, rich people are stealing our money. And, whether you agree with that angle or not,
right.
which I think there's lots of evidence to support that, but like if that...
No, I agree with that.
Right, but if that's not your thing, if that's not your voting issue,
right.
if you're not an economic populist,
right.
like, I think he's doing... Based on what I've seen, and he's brand new to this race. It's been like a week, but like the talking points that I've seen from him so far, I'm like, this is an area where I'm very curious to see if this is how Democrats can carve out a winning path in states like this, because you are framing these issues through a socioeconomic lens. You're saying, I unify with Trump supporters because we're both angry that this is happening to us. We might disagree on who's doing it, but he has his angle. And but
the moment he starts talking about, he's asked about trans girls playing sports, he'll lose all of them. That's the problem.
That's where it's like
the tough guy persona that a lot of these candidates, there's a couple of them are running in the country right now, which he is a tough guy. I'm not saying he's not. He's a veteran. He works with his hands. I'm not criticizing him. Sure. Actually. I'm saying the optics of it all kind of goes away the moment he starts talking about trans girls should be able to play women's sports, and let's talk about racial equity and all the woke stuff that I don't necessarily think is woke, but that the right wing accuses the Democrats of being woke.
Let's be clear, woke is not really a bad thing.
I get what you're saying.
I get what you're saying. But like, my thing is like, how will he frame that? You know what I mean? If he doesn't, if that's not the emphasis of his campaign, if he's asked about it and he can give a concise, quick answer and then pivot to economics or whatever, like, maybe it works out.
Yeah, and so the thing is, like, if he's the nominee, good. Hopefully we can see if he wins. I hope he does win, obviously. Some of these economic populists, so the thing is that they are coming at it from a different angle. So in Maine, you have the two congressional districts. You have Jared Golden in the second, and you have Shelley Pingree in the first. Mm-hmm. And the first is, like, metropolitan. There's a big city there. Mm-hmm. It's very highly educated, as you said. The second district is rural. It's ancestrally Democratic. They vote for Jared Golden since 2018. because he's economically populist in the way that they are, which is a more conservative way,
Sure.
not necessarily the liberal way that this Graham guy is saying. The only other thing that I would say is I'm concerned that I watched his announcement video and I was like, I feel like I've seen this before.
John Fetterman.
It's the John Fetterman approach. It's the Dr. Al Gross approach. It's the Nathan Sage approach in Iowa. It's, people like outsiders, but people also want to have experienced people who know what they're doing. And I'm a little concerned when I listen to him talk, where it sounds like he's, I don't trust necessarily everything that he's saying.
Sure. And I think that's valid. And I think we'll see where his campaign goes. My thing with him is
we can't fumble the bag is what I'm trying to say.
We can't fumble the bag because I think that's it's a key pickup opportunity for us. Right. We'll also see if Governor Mills gets in.
Which I think she will in November. And if she does, she'll win the nomination.
And that, I think, in itself opens up a whole new can of worms, which is she's term limited, so she would not be abandoning the office. She just,
Correct.
But she's 77 years old.
Right.
So Roy Cooper is what, 65?
I think he's around 65.
Janet Mills is 77. I think it's going to be crucial.
Age is not necessarily a bad thing. The issue is
it's a 6-year term. She'll be 83 by the time she's
just
done.
Run for one.
Right, but she needs to say, I will only, and I was a Biden defender.
Totally.
I'm not an ageist person. I don't
Right.
believe that younger necessarily equals better.
Correct.
But we've seen this before.
Yeah.
And we need somebody like Mills, if she runs, who looks like a strong contender if she were to run, to just come out and say, I will run for one term. The reason I am running is XYZ, and I want to help us through this next ugly chapter.
Yes.
And then I will pass the torch.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens. My thing with Plattner is, and you and I have gotten into some disagreements over some of the pieces of this, Big Tent means...
Big Tent,
which you and I have talked about this on this podcast. In Erie, Pennsylvania, we are not going to win with a uber progressive candidate for Congress.
Right, for Congress.
So it means blue dogs in the areas where that's appropriate. It means Jared Golden and potentially someone like Graham Plattner in the same state for different offices, for different constituencies.
Yeah, and I think that's where I push back on you, where it's like you have a winning method, which is the Jared Golden, the Marie Gluskamp Perez's in these conservative leaning districts,
but not states.
No, but the in Maine, you have to do well in the second district as well as the first district to win. You can't but you need to still be competitive in the second district to win the state.
Right, but so that's my thing is Susan Collins is a known entity in Maine.
Right.
She's been around forever. Let's see what happens in an anti-Trump wave.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Kamala Harris won the state by how many points was it?
It was more narrow than it should have been.
Yes, but 9 points.
I thought
9 points. I don't even know.
It was 5 because Biden won it by 9.
Okay, so it's a blue state federally.
Yeah,
it's not a state that we ever really worry about.
No, and there's a bunch of those New England states where Connecticut and Rhode Island can be competitive for Republicans. New England's not as solid as people say it is for the Democrats. They just run really goofy candidates who can never win.
Republicans, you mean?
Republicans.
Yeah.
So the bench is non-existent. And that's actually also why in a lot of red states that could be competitive, Democrats never win because they run kind of goofy candidates who aren't serious.
Yeah. But I'm curious to see where he goes. I'm curious to see.
Yeah, I mean, all eyes are on him, and we'll see how it goes. The Katie Porter's chief of staff, he's not from he might have grown up in Maine, but he has not lived there for many years.
Yeah.
And he's the textbook definition of a grifter, kind of like Katie Porter.
Let's talk about Iowa.
Yeah, so
Jody Ernst is not running for re-election. That was announced literally 2 hours before we came in here.
Yeah, and the thing about Iowa...
So everybody's going to die, but we might not all win re-election. Jody Ernst, huh?
Yes. She's facing a primary challenge from the right. And she
is that for sure?
Yeah, she has people running against her.
Okay.
She also is going to probably face a competitive general election. The reason I say this is I'm kind of bullish on Iowa this year. I don't think it's fool's gold because
it's tough, to be clear.
It's tough, right? 2018. The Democrats won 3 out of the 4 congressional districts of Iowa, and they were really close to winning. Now, granted, the 4th district that they didn't win, they were only 2 points off, but that was because it was the Stephen King guy, or Steve King, who was the literal, like, he was like literally a neo-Nazi. He got defeated the next year in his primary election. We have a really strong bench in Iowa, actually. So Rob Sand is running for governor.
Yep.
He's the elected statewide auditor. He is, I wouldn't call him a blue dog, but I would call him, again, more populist, left progressive in that way, but he comes off very authentically centrist. And then we have a couple people running for Senate there, including the former chief of staff for Joe Biden, or Michelle Obama, which is funny. And then a guy named Josh Turek, who is from Council Bluffs. He is a state representative, and he's my choice for the seat. He's a Paralympian, basketball, or wheelchair basketball, fun fact.
Okay.
And he represents a conservative.
He's running for Senate?
He's running for Senate.
So I don't know much about him.
The whole goal, and then there's another guy who's getting a lot of social media. It's the same situation as Graham Plattner. It's the tough guy. I work with my hands. It comes off a little grifty, but we'll see how it goes. He's also running. I think the ticket in Iowa could really be strong. And I know that we're fielding pretty strong candidates for the congressional districts that we can win there. And I do think that we could pick up the governorship, maybe a Senate seat, maybe the representative seats as well.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look back at 2020, Joni Ernst only won by, was it
6 points?
6 points. Okay. Which, Iowa is it voted for Obama twice.
It voted for Obama twice. It has the most counties that voted for Obama and then switched to Trump in 2016 in the country.
I would say at this point it's a red state. So I think it's a state where it's an uphill battle for Democrats. But again, if you're looking, and we don't know what things are going to look like this time next year even. But like if you take this as like a potential anti-Trump wave. Mm-hmm. We might see something happen. We'll see if they nominate on the Republican side a neo-Nazi or a more normie Republican, which I think we know which way that'll end up going.
Yeah, and the governor's race is the same thing, where there's kind of normies running, but then also some of the lunatics too.
Yeah.
So, and the thing with Rob Sand is he's the only elected statewide Democrat in Iowa since 2022.
Yeah.
There was a red wave in Iowa in 2022 where we held the attorney general and another statewide position. They were defeated, but Rob Sand still held on, and he won 3 out of the 4 congressional districts in his reelect.
Yeah.
So he's very strong. He's really cool. The statewide auditor, and people like that, where it's someone who's like, no, I audit. But they both kind of have those kind of that blue collar appeal.
Cred.
So I'm excited to see.
Yeah. Alaska.
Yeah.
So what's his name? Bajik?
For governor?
For governor.
Okay, so here's the
How do
deal
you
to our
pronounce it?
listener.
Do you
Well,
know?
it's Begich. But here's the deal. In Alaska, there are like 3 political families that run
They
everything.
all have the same last
They
name.
all have the same last name, and they all run in different parties. So little history lesson here. The Begiches are like a founding member
The big guy
of the Alaska like Democratic Party and for statehood, right? So one of their members was the U.S. House of Representatives member when it became a state, and then he died in a plane crash, which is very common actually for Alaska representatives. I will say a lot of them pass away in plane crashes. And then I'm not like laughing about that.
I don't
That's
think
just
you
the
are.
truth. And then one of his grandsons won a Senate seat, and there was a few of them in the House of Representatives and the state Senate as well. Then one of him, Mark Begich, won the Senate seat in 2018.
Bagach.
And he defeated the Bridge to Nowhere guy.
Okay.
And then he ran, so he was defeated in 2014 in the red wave. And then he ran for governor in 2018, was defeated. And then Nick Begich III is running. He ran for Congress in 2022, lost to Sarah Palin. He's a Republican, same family, by the way.
Yeah.
Like they like get together on the weekends, like that type of family. It's not like distant cousins. He ran for Congress 2022, lost to Sarah Palin, ran again in 2024, narrowly beat Mary Peltola because of the red wave nature of the election. Now another Begich, who's a Democrat, is running for governor. And he's a strong candidate for governor.
What's his first name?
I don't know. They all have the same first name.
Mark?
It might be another Mark.
Is it Mark Bagach? Well, okay. So the reason
this is a long story. I just wanted to be entertaining.
The reason I bring up the big eye situation is He's running for governor as a Democrat, which he said he would only do if Mary Peltola did not express interest in running.
Yes.
There's a lot of strong speculation that Mary Peltola is going to run for Senate.
Yeah, and here's the thing with Mary Peltola. So I actually did a deep dive on Alaskan politics a couple weeks ago. She's a native Alaskan, she's a Native American, full sent. Fun fact, at a point in 2022 when she was sworn in, there was a Native Hawaiian, there was a Native American, and there was a Native Alaskan all in the Congress for the first time.
Yeah.
Now the only one that's left is the Native American, Sharice Davids.
Yeah.
But that was a really cool picture back in the day. So she's running for Senate, most likely.
Yeah.
She's a very uniquely strong candidate for Senate because of this. She's from the Native community. The Native community will vote for the Republicans if that Republican has done things for them, in the sense of they live in isolation. They live in, like there's no roads to where they live.
Yeah.
She does really well in those communities because she's from those communities, right? She's also like true blue Alaska. Dan Sullivan, the opposition, the incumbent Republican, he is not actually from Alaska originally. He moved there when he was in his 30s, and then he ran for office. So she's going to be a uniquely strong challenger there. And kind of what happens in Alaska is its own thing. It's kind of away from partisan politics. And Alaska, like Texas, is trending blue. The races have been very competitive there.
Yeah.
So I think
aren't they
could
also
win.
like a little reversed from what we see in the continental states, where like the cities go red and
Correct.
rural areas go blue?
Yes. So there's only 2 states in the country that do this. It's Vermont and Alaska, but Alaska on a huge capacity.
Yeah.
Now there was backsliding this past year, but before that, the cities go Republican, and the Native American areas and the rural areas vote Democratic.
Interesting.
And it's and they used to vote Republican because of the gas jobs out there, but now all the Democrats running in Alaska are pro the extraction of oil, so they now vote Democratic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of is there anything else you want to say about 2026 map Senate-wise?
I just want to say one thing about governor races, going all the way back to what we were saying. So Josh Shapiro is most likely running for re-election. He hasn't indicated it according to Wikipedia, but he is. Him at the top of the ticket, he's going to be facing off against Stacey Garrity, who's the treasurer.
But Grant Mastriano.
Well, Mastriano also wants to run. With Josh Shapiro on the top of the ticket, I think we're going to see a mini blue wave in Pennsylvania, where I think we could pick off between 2 and 4 congressional seats from the Republicans. And this is my bullish take. I think we can win the state Senate because there's a couple seats in the Philadelphia suburbs that could switch back or switch to the Democrats. In 2022, we defeated a couple state representatives and state senators in the Philadelphia suburbs, and there was a great news piece where there was a incumbent I want to say state senator, but it might have been a state representative, who is pro-choice. He's endorsed by Planned Parenthood every single time he runs for re-election. He was a Republican. It's a news piece of him going door to door and him talking to voters, and everyone's talking about abortion. He's like, I'm with you. And then he got defeated in a landslide. Because Planned Parenthood just endorsed the Democrat just because the Democratic Party is pro-choice. So I think you could see a lot more of that going forward.
And if that happens, for anyone who's unfamiliar, we currently have a very, very, very narrow majority in the State House of Representatives. How many seats are we down in the state Senate? 3? I
think it's 2 now because of our friend.
Friend of the pod, Malone.
James Malone, yeah.
And Josh Shapiro is the governor. So this is, if we were to do that, there's a lot of stuff we could push through.
Well, and the one thing that I'll say is the state House majority rests on a single man who represents Johnstown, and he is currently a Democrat. He was elected in 2008. He represents a Trump plus 29 district.
Yeah.
So he's going to be in trouble next year too. Hopefully he wins. But we have to find other places to pick up more seats for the state house.
Yeah. But if that were to happen, that'd be amazing, because there's a lot of stuff that the state house, Democrats in the state house introduce that dies in the Senate and never makes it to Shapiro. Shapiro's been a great governor, but having, especially if he's going to end up running for president in 2028, having a blue unified trifecta that he can kind of push through legislation.
Yeah, and the Democrats have not held the Senate majority since 1994.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time.
Well, let's change that, everybody.
Absolutely.
I kind of want to talk about the Minnesota shooting that just happened.
Yeah, for sure.
First of all, awful.
Yeah.
Terrible. But we all... Anybody who listens to this knows that and understands that that's horrible. This is being framed and propagated as an attack on Catholics by the Trump administration, who immediately jumped to politicize it. So I want to talk about the fact that shootings happen. Democrats cry for gun control. Republicans say this is not the time to politicize. The minute that this happened, 2 children were killed.
Yeah.
One an 8-year-old, one a 10-year-old, and then there are 17 others in critical condition in the hospital. Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Defense, or Homeland Security. Whoops. Yeah, I knew that. Wasted no time in identifying the shooter as transgender, and tried to point fingers at the transgender community for attacking Catholics and Christians. This is how it's being framed by the right.
This is news to me.
I'm still on Twitter, so I get push notifications because they're pushing Republican push. So I get push notifications every time JD Vance tweets, every time it's kind of random. I'm getting them now for Newsom.
Gruesome.
Yeah, gruesome Newsom. But this was her immediate angle.
I will say this. I'm going to interject because I want to make sure we're very sensitive on this subject. The shooter, the one thing I did see was they were going after all organized religions.
I have that in here,
including Judaism and
very
and
anti-Semitic things written on. This person had a manifesto on YouTube.
And they were planning it for months. And here's the thing: this monster, whoever it is, I don't care if they're transgender.
Neither do I.
Care. No, I don't care who they are.
Yeah.
They're a wuss for killing themselves. And that's the thing where you would have done a lot more good if you had just put the bullet in your brain instead of shooting innocent little children.
Yeah, I agree.
So you don't need to make these kids suffer your mental health crisis. This is a unique American problem, and it's disgusting. And the kids were literally praying in their Catholic school. It's just beyond comprehension that someone could do this. And again,
and yet we're kind of numb to it because it just happens so often.
Right?
But I want to. This is my message for Democrats. First of all, I wrote some stuff down. To be clear, the anti-trans attack is not my main takeaway here.
Yeah,
although of course it is important because
I only wanted to interject there because obviously the shooter shot up a Catholic mass.
Correct.
So there is some validity to that.
Well, no, there's not. There's not.
I mean, you're shooting up a religious service at that point.
Right. Attacks on anybody for their religion are wrong. The point that I'm bringing up in Kristi Noem saying this is she says it about a marginalized community that's 0.5% of the population, and the right-wing bots are already all over the internet talking about how transgender people have a history of violence. They do not. Even Hitler Grok on Twitter, the automated whatever that fact checks things, was like, this is crazy, of the 5,000 shootings in America since 2013, 5 or 6 of the shooters have identified as transgender, where the vast majority of the rest of them have been white men. So let's nip that in the bud right now. The manifesto and the video that has been pulled from YouTube since showed hatred for black people, for Mexican people, for Jews, for Christians. There was writing on multiple guns this person had that said 6 million Jews wasn't enough, extra Jew gas, Israel must fall. So this is, again, a very mentally ill person with a lot of hate in their heart.
Who, let's reiterate it one more time, would have done a lot better for society if they killed themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's my desire to live in a world where we don't immediately jump to politicize. However,
that's not the world we live in.
That's not the world we live in. It's also my desire to live in a world where this doesn't happen. And so everyone that I see sharing graphics on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever, I understand the wounded heart. I get it. But every time this happens, it's the same response. and we sanitize and we put a collective we on we have failed our children.
Yeah.
Us, we, and I need to emphasize that. Are you crying?
Yeah.
It is very tragic.
Yeah.
But we need to emphasize that the we is isolated to one party. And nothing is happening federally with guns until we have a pro-gun control official sitting in the White House. We have 60 pro-gun control senators, and we have a pro-gun control majority in the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
That means Democrats. And when we're talking about, we were just talking about the Senate map, I have to look, and none of this would have given us the numbers we need today.
Yeah.
I have to look at Sarah Gideon in 2020, Cal Cunningham in 2020, Mandela Barnes and Sherry Beasley in 2022, Bob Casey, Sherrod Brown, John Tester in 2024, Claire McCaskill, Bill Nelson, Joe Donnelly, Heidi Heitkamp. I mean, I know some of these people probably had, purplish record on guns.
Yeah, on guns, right.
But I don't understand. I'm actually not going to go into the I don't understand. I'm going to go into the I need people. These are good people who share these graphics, who share their thoughts and their anger and their fury and their hand wringing and they're sad and they're upset. I get it. I need people to be objectively better at turning those emotions into action.
Yeah.
Because there's a strategy behind this. 90% of America supports stricter gun laws. That's overwhelming. Now there's differences in opinion on what those actually are, what it means. That's a huge supermajority of the country supports stricter gun laws.
Yeah.
I need people to remember this when it comes to elections. When you watch the Uvalde, Texas shooting in 2022, and then overwhelmingly reelect Greg Abbott, who doesn't believe in any restrictions on guns.
and their state senator too.
Yes.
Who doesn't believe in any restrictions on guns.
I need people to be smarter with their votes. It's just.
And there needs to be something said where, whoever this monster is, I don't even know anything about them other than that they were anti-religion and anti-black people and all that. Whoever this monster is, obviously there's red flags that need to be raised, and that's, get your guns, buy your guns. I'm pro Second Amendment, but people like this should not be able to buy guns.
Agreed.
And I don't know how we can figure out who these people are, but it should not be allowed to happen.
Right.
And I teared up because I was thinking of there's a image that is, I think it's going to be probably the picture of the year. It's a mom running down the street barefoot holding her shoes, and it's really sad.
It's
really sad.
I remember being
This shouldn't be happening
in high school when the Sandy Hook shooting happened, and I knew we went to that whole Columbine assembly in 2010, where that was I think my first foray into shootings being a thing, and Sandy Hook happened in 2012, and then since then it's just been nonstop. It just happens over and over and over and over again.
It's the same. It doesn't matter if they're transgender or what color they are. It's the same story over and over and over again
of a mentally disturbed outsider
mentally freaks. Again, here's the deal.
Waltzing up to a counter and being able to purchase
buy
firearm.
a gun and then go and shoot up a school. I don't know how. I cannot fathom murdering children. I can't imagine murdering anyone, by the way. But these people need to be found, and they should not be allowed to purchase a firearm, and they need to be put on a list.
I agree.
They're dangerous to society.
I agree.
It's a uniquely American thing. They shoot up a school full of kids. And it's ruining our culture as a country, and it's like in Erie. We can't have football games on Friday nights in the city of Erie because there's always a threat of a shooting. They're always on Saturday mornings, and that's just not right.
Yeah.
Kids deserve to be kids. They deserve to play sports. They deserve to be in theater. They deserve to do academic decathlon. And I'm so sick and tired of the fact that we live in this world where, I had to do school shooting drills in school. I don't know if you did.
I never did.
They were so dumb. Here's the thing. And I was on the school safety committee, so I helped do these.
When did the Clinton assault weapons ban expire? Was it 2006?
2004.
2004? Okay.
And the thing with that one is, that was bipartisan, by the way.
Yeah.
In 1994, because the cops were asking for it, actually.
Yes.
the thing is, like, these school shooting drills, like, I remember talking, and, like, we all had to, like, kind of hunker down and do this thing. And I was like, if there's a school shooter, I'm getting the heck out of here. I'm not going to just sit here and get myself shot. And then they were like, should we be throwing books at the school shooter? And everyone was like, no, you don't. I'm like, no, like, let's kill this guy if this person comes into our building.
And now, like, the whiteboards that pull out and create like a whole other bulletproof room. It's insane.
It's insane.
All of the things we will do other than just ban guns.
Well, so again, I'm not for banning guns.
I'm pro Second Amendment for law-abiding citizens, like, within reason. Like,
I think there just needs to be some extra hoops that people go through, and there needs to be a way we can figure out these lunatics not being allowed to buy them.
Right.
I don't think so. The thing is, like it is the guns, it is the mental health. It's that's the truth of it. Fox News automatically, they go, okay, well, we need to militarize schools and have someone with a gun to protect the kids. Over and over and over and over again, we see this happen where there is someone on campus who has a firearm. We saw it in Parkland. The I don't know who was there, but the protector of the school who had a firearm sat in a closet instead of running in to try to kill this guy. We saw it in Uvalde where the guy was literally murdering children and the police are sitting in the hallway. And this isn't anti-police. I get it.
Not
it's
at all.
Scary. They're literally sitting in the hallway instead of charging in there and shooting this kid who was killing these innocent kids. So that's not, more guns is not the solution.
And sacrificing teachers is also not the solution.
Right. Teachers do not need to be carrying a firearm. This is the United States of America. It should not be acting like we're going to Baghdad next week.
Right.
During the war, I should say. Because Baghdad probably right now doesn't have a gun problem. But it probably does. But who knows? It's just really sad.
It's sad, but it's also, I need people to get serious about the solution.
To me, this isn't even political anymore. It's like, yes, this is a problem. Let's address it. Let's fix it. And I'm so tired that it's not being fixed.
Yeah, I agree. But again, we need to emphasize it is one side that is holding this up from being fixed.
Right. I totally
It's
agree.
one side that is preventing school shootings from being drastically reduced.
Right.
When it comes to legislation.
Yeah. Did they raise the age? No, to buy a handgun, you have to be 21. Did they raise the age to buy a long gun to 21? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Like, that's something very simple we should be able to do. There's a lot of things that we should be able to do.
Yeah.
And there should be a way, like, if you have a mental health, I know this is really dark, but, like, if you've been, like, put into a ward, maybe you shouldn't be able to go to gun.
Yeah.
There's some clear red flags that should be put in place.
But heaven forbid the Cracker Barrel logo was revised.
Listen, who cares? The food's good. I'm really tired of everyone dumping on Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel is delicious.
Cracker Barrel is a bit of a banger, but also I'm talking about the right wing outrage this week was over Cracker Barrel and their logo, which
who cares?
Nothing about that logo change was political. Nothing about that that logo change was woke. Nothing about that logo change signified anything other than a rebrand.
Right.
And they managed to twist it into something political, racial.
They removed the barrel and the cracker. That's what I heard. I'm allowed to say that word. I'm white.
Yeah. So I just there's one more thing that I know that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is the Q2 economic numbers were
I haven't seen these.
Revised.
Oh, I did see those.
Up.
Yeah.
So remember when the economic report came out and it was like, so the economy shrunk in the first quarter of the year, and then there were some lackluster numbers that came out for Q2. Trump threw a tantrum, and then either fired or threatened to fire the people.
He fired it.
So he fired the people responsible for releasing those numbers,
and then put in a loyalist who does not have an accredited PhD, and apparently his PhD research or his dissertation is literally unreadable, apparently.
Yes. So here we are in August. It's August. The economic numbers that came out in June, or early July, I guess, have been revised up after Trump threw a temper tantrum about the reality of those numbers, fired the person that put them out, and installed a loyalist. Now we are getting...
normal.
Yes. So we are now getting Trump propaganda disseminated uncritically by the media about the economic numbers. I want to read some headlines from CNN. It was stronger than previously reported. From CNBC, it was even stronger than initially thought. Those numbers were not good. So even
Right.
stronger. I don't know where that comes from. Even stronger than initially thought. Investopedia says, withstanding tariff and interest rate challenges our economy. So the original GDP estimate was a 3% growth after a 0.5 shrink in Q1. Consumer spending was revised upward from 1.4% growth to 1.6% growth. That's not great either way. But these articles are framing it as like, oh, that's much better. And like, I need people to understand, like, this is the consequence. Like, and people are not paying attention.
No.
So let's talk about what happens in 3 years when we have another presidential election, like God willing, and we're looking at the economic numbers of which
Right.
some people will suddenly care about because it's a Republican.
Of course.
And it'll be like, well, the economy did really well, and here are the charts, and here are and people will go, oh, okay, that looks good. We are literally being lied to.
Yeah.
We're being lied to, and we have we're installing loyalists to report these economic numbers. We're installing loyalists to report job numbers. He just installed an election denier to oversee the integrity of United States elections. Terrible people are being installed at every level of the federal government to lie to you.
Right.
And the lack of understanding of that fact is chilling to me.
Well, and I will say one thing that is related to this, but also not. Did you see the news about Intel?
Yes.
Yeah.
A literal socialism was done by
literal,
Trump's government.
It's literally communism. It's
they bought 10% of Intel's
stocks.
Yes.
And that's like
Can you tell us why that's not good?
Well, the reason why, so again, on top of tariffs and starting to buy companies, that is a huge, that's literally communism.
Right.
And the reason why it's not good is because the government should allow the free market to do whatever the heck they want to do.
Which is supposed to be the Republican.
That's the Republican view that I actually hold too. I mean, there needs to be some regulations,
yes.
of course, but the government should not be profiting. The point of businesses is to pay taxes, of course, but in regards to the government, and to give employment to workers so they can have a life too.
Yep.
This is literal communism, like textbook. And so I've just been enjoying the memes of all the Stalin, like the national anthem with the news clip of the USSR. Tariffs and buying companies from a government perspective or taking stake in companies is catastrophic. It is a bad idea. The only place where it's good, in my opinion, is will never happen, but in the military arms complex, basically, where if the government owns the means of production for military hardware, that's the only thing I would support.
Okay.
But for private companies, that's asinine.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like,
crazy.
oh, okay, here we are. Like,
like Kyle, I cannot stress this enough to you that if Joe Biden did this, it would be
the end of the world.
It would be if Obama did. Oh, heaven forbid if Obama did this. It would be literally like crisis. We are in communism now.
Yeah.
I sent it to a couple of my Republican friends who actually are business.
You have
owners.
those?
I do.
I'm just kidding.
But I do. But most of them were like, yeah, like that's not right. That's not good. And then one of them, who is a business owner here, I sent it to him. I said, hey, man, what would you feel like if Mill Creek Township, because that's where his business is, basically said you have to give us 10% of your company or you're not allowed to get our subsidies or da 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 da. He goes, in the context of the government, of course I want, like he was defending it. I'm like, no. I was like, this is literal communism. Like this is not good.
The new chip is installed in the back of their brains.
Yeah, he was like, no, that would be good because then they would have a stake in it too. I'm like, no, that's not good. Like this is what bad regimes do.
Yeah. Yep.
And tariffs are also a bad regime. Mm-hmm. That's the textbook failing economy practice.
Yep.
So everything is good, Kyle.
Everything's going really well. Should we call it a day?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate you always having me on.
You're great. You're like the co-host now.
I know. We should in the future have that Ukraine expert on.
We're going to.
Yeah. So hopefully next week
we will have a discussion about Ukraine in the near future. Stay tuned for that. And yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.